Previously on Art with Artemis, we learned how to draw Himiko Toga from My Hero Academia. But today, we're going to be drawing another character, known as Dabi. In the show My Hero Academia, there's a group of bad guys known as the League of Villains. Last video, we went over Himiko Toga, but today, we'll go over a character named Dabi. Not much is really known about this character. He doesn't really have a last name, and he just goes by the name Dabi, which I have no idea why. Dabi has an ability known as cremation. It's a firepower that's more powerful than the likes of the hero Endeavor or Shoto Todoroki. There's a big theory about how these characters are all somehow related. It could be a possibility, but we don't really know for sure until it is actually fully announced. Anyways, let's get started with the project. I will be using this previous drawing I did as my reference. You know what? This is totally fine. Just erase that. Anyways, so we're going to be using this as a reference, and I will be showing you how to draw this character. So, I'm going to be using this as my reference. I found it online. I couldn't really decide which one I wanted, but I'm going to be basing it off of what I drew on my watercolor drawing. Okay, so I'm going to grab my pencil, and I'm going to start drawing Dabi. You can get yourself a nice clean sheet of paper, or if you want a copy of how I'm doing it while having it on the same page as Himiko Toga, feel free to do that. So I'm going to start drawing in a line from left to right towards the middle of the page. And I'm going to go up and down with this line. These lines are used for charting out the face. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add another line to show how tall the eyes are going to be. They're kind of more narrow inward, and I'm going to add a line here and over there to box in where the start and ends of the eyes are going to be. I'm going to start sketching a little bit downward to shape out the side of his face. Please note that you shouldn't really press too hard when using pencils when you're drawing, just in case you happen to make a mistake and you want to erase it. You want to make sure that mark is erasable, because sometimes if you press too hard, you'll still see that stray line that you made, so make sure you keep that in mind. Okay, so now I'm going to start working on this part of the face, and I'm going to start reshaping it. I want to make this a little bit more narrower, and there. I'll go back to that later. I'm going to start working on the facial features, such as this nose. In My Hero Academia, I noticed that the art style for the nose, they add lines for like the curve of the nose. So I'm going to add that, and I need to erase a little bit. Be prepared to have an eraser nearby, just in case you make any mistakes. I'm going to add also these piercings that he has on his nose. I'm going to start working on his lower part of the eyes. I need to reshape this so it looks even. I begin to reshape my two lines. I start at the beginning of the eye, and I'm going to go up towards the top line, and I'm going to start tracing a little bit across that, and I'm going to make it a little bit downward so that way it connects to the bottom of the eye. His eyes are very narrow, so I'm trying to make sure I copy it as best as possible. After doing that, I'm going to start working on the eyelid, which I'm going to put this line right here, the curve of the eyelid. I'm going to add the top line, and I'm going to add another line to add the position of the eyebrow. So then I'm going to start shaping in the position of his eye. It's not directly on the bottom line of the eye. I'm going to add a narrow small half circle to show where the pupil is. So this is the right side of the face. I'm going to try and fix this a little bit. And I'm going to go upward and start tracing out where the position of the hair is going to be. The hair pieces curve a bit inward near the eye and has like some curved spikes. The reason why I'm shaping out his hair is because I want to make sure I have the position of the eyes and facial features correct. I also want to use this opportunity to try and reshape the face again, to make sure it's nice and even. I want to make sure Dabi looks more masculine than feminine, depending on how I draw the face. When it comes to drawing, I have to add different features for male and female characters, such as the neck has different shape and the way his chin has it. It kind of is a little bit more boxed at the tip, not as pointy. Sometimes it could be more rounded too. And male faces usually are kind of more longer than a female's. A female's is more shorter. When I was learning how to draw, I would always draw female characters. I would always find that easier. Whenever I would draw a guy, it would look really bad. It took me some time to figure out what the differences were between drawing guys and girls, and once I got the hang of it, it's pretty easy. I just make sure that I keep in practice of drawing both, so that way I'm not gonna have a hard time. I'm gonna make a video about how to draw guys and girls, so that way it'll be easier for you to know how to draw them. But anyways, back to our drawing. We will work on the left eye, so I'm gonna start sketching in on the top line and try and make it a little bit more darker. I'm gonna try and make it go a little bit downward at the edge to show the corner of the eye, and I want to try and reshape this. Once I fix that, I'm gonna start working on the under part of the eye. I'm gonna lightly sketch that in, make it a little bit more darker. Try and reshape the top a little bit. I start to shape in the position of the left eyeball. I'm gonna try and add his pupil. Then I'm gonna work on his eyelids. I shape in the eyebrow by adding a small line and then a little bit of a bigger line up top. On the left side, I start adding in his eyebrow, try to make them even. I start drawing in his scars on his right eye. I start drawing in a half circle at the tip of the eye, and I work my way to the end. I'm gonna add some staples or tacks. I don't know what they really are, but I'm gonna add them across the circle. And I'm gonna add some lines to show that he has scarring. Before I do the rest of his scars, I'm gonna continue working on the rest of his hair. I continue to draw it in, shaping it a bit upward. To be honest, his hair kind of reminds me of a spiky hedgehog or something. I don't know how else to explain it. His hairstyle's pretty different, I'll give it that. So, we're gonna continue and start working on the other eye. We basically are gonna copy what we did with the right side. I'm starting from the end of the eye and going towards the inner part of the eye. I'm gonna add in the little tacks, or whatever they're called, underneath the eye, which is around the circle. I also will add the lines to show that he has scarring. Since we're mostly at the halfway point, we're going to pull up a reference, and we will start working on the mouth part, which also has some of the scarring. I'm going to start sketching in half of the circle, starting from the point of his lower ears, making my way upward. While we're at it, I'll fix some of his ear. I don't really like how it's shaped right now, and I want to add some more detail. Also, please note that he actually does have some scarring in his ear. I don't really know why, but that's how his character is designed. Luckily for us, since we have the ear as our starting point, we can go ahead and figure out where the rest of his hair is going to be. So I'm going to try and draw this and go upward, and try to finish the rest of it. Dabi also has some hair at the back of his neck, so I want to make sure I go ahead and add those also, and add it to both sides. Since I'm now finally done with the hair, I'm going to move on towards the neck, and I'm going to start shaping in his collar and shoulders. So from the left side, I'm going to curve it a little bit inward, shaping the edge of his collar. And I'm going to curve that a bit inward and go a bit downward. I want to go ahead and fix his smile, which Dabi also has those staple marks or tack things that he has on his face. I'm also going to add him where his chin is, and I'm going to color in where his lines are for his scars. Once I do that, I'm going to go a little bit downward and finish the part of his neck. I'm going to continue and add more detail to his collar and shape the back part of his shoulders. At the edge of his sleeve, he has some pattern designs, so I'm going to draw that in. Then I move to the right side of his collar and I start working downward. I need to figure out the rest of his shoulders and where his shirt is. I start working on the neck, making it look a little bit more defined, and I make it go downward as if it's like a V-neck. I also add in the extra lines he has from his scarring. Since I finished doing that, I start working on the right shoulder, and I copy the same thing I did for the left. I make sure I get in that design he has on his sleeve. I do some extra touch-ups, and we're pretty much done with this drawing. Since we finished our drawing, you can feel free to color this however you like. You can have the original colors or not the original colors if you want to. This is your drawing. But anyways, thank you very much for watching this video. If you want to see more art tutorials or more how to draws, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and don't forget to hit the notification bell for more. On Twitter, I put up a poll of what I should draw next, and I received a request to draw Froppy from the same show, My Hero Academia. After I show you how I draw Froppy, I want to also draw Shadow the Hedgehog, so please stay tuned for both of these videos. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, see ya!